Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of The Extra Point here on KLAA. I'm your host, Roland Rainey. You can call me R2. And as always, I'm joined with my fellow colleagues, Jeremy Coleman from Indiana and Justice Gordon from New York. Guys, week 2 lived up to the hype, so we're going to jump right in it with our new segment here on The Extra Point called the Quick Snap Recap. We have the Rams versus the Colts, 27-24 Rams over the Colts. And once again, we got the Wentz issue with injuries. We're going to talk about that later on in the episode, but the Colts have to figure out something with Wentz. We also got the Titans versus the Seahawks. Titans pull that off 33-30. What do you guys thought about that game? Because at the end of the day, King Henry took over.
Well, it's crazy because once again, the Titans looked like they were going to get absolutely shellacked in that game. Then all of a sudden, the second half, they went back to the run game. And like you said, King Henry went off. They could not tackle him. He escaped for big runs, scored the game-winning touchdown. I mean, what more can you ask out of your superstar NFL running back other than to lead you back when you are down by more than 2 scores like that? Just a great game from them, and honestly a great game for Tennessee to rebound back as they state their claim for the AFC South going forward.
Yeah, it was definitely an offensive show for both teams. I mean, the Seahawks couldn't tackle Henry, and the Titans couldn't cover Tyler Lockett. I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a phenomenal game to watch. Both offenses going off. Russell Wilson looked great. I thought Julio Jones looked great. He kind of got screwed out of a touchdown. But like Jeremy said, it looked like the Titans were going to get completely bounced in that game, but they came back and they fought hard, and they deserved the win.
Once again, we got also the Cardinals over the Vikings. And, you got to feel for the Vikings losing another close one by a field goal. But I tell you, Kyler Murray looks phenomenal.
Yeah, he looked great. He had a number of great passes through the air. He threw dimes the whole game. He looked calm under pressure. I'll tell you what, that fadeaway off of his back foot on that one pass was absolutely phenomenal. That was a Mahomes-type pass. I think he's an up-and-comer in this league. He's going to be great for many years. And, man, I love that kid. And I think this Cardinals team could make some noise come playoff time.
Yeah, it's just almost laughable that the Vikings are still having problems in the kicking department after all this time. Not even the same kicker, but another missed field goal in crunch time.
And then we have the Cowboys versus the Chargers. Cowboys get the win with a walk-off field goal by Zerline. But did the Cowboys look like a competitive team out there? What you guys think?
I absolutely think they did. I think this team just continues to get better and better as the season goes along. Diggs is starting to play really well at cornerback. He's making some great plays on the ball, came up with a big-time interception in the game. But then the Dallas offense just looks like it's in midseason form already. I understand, they only put 20 points on the board, but that's more credit to the Chargers defense. They went to the red zone a few times, got held up, Dak threw a pick. But I think Dallas is a team that looks like a contender, even though their defense still has some room to improve.
Yeah, I thought Dallas looked competitive in this game, but I think the Chargers gave it to him. Justin Herbert, he had a lot of bad decisions, a few critical picks. And I think the Chargers offense, they shot themselves in the foot a few times with those penalties. I thought it was kind of a bad game overall for them. And I got to give it up to Tony Pollard for the Cowboys. He had a phenomenal game, over 100 rushing yards. I think Zeke has to kick it into gear because he's starting to fade away in that Cowboys offense.
And what a way to end week 2 with a great Chiefs versus Ravens game. Look, the Ravens walked away with that win, 36-35. But it was great looking at 2 extraordinary quarterbacks on that field with extraordinary talents. You had Lamar literally doing jump passes. You had the Chiefs quarterback in Mahomes throwing sidewinders out there. I mean, these guys are the best of the best right now playing in that quarterback position.
Yeah, it's fun to see 2 guys at this caliber go at each other. If it wasn't for that late fumble by Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I thought the Chiefs were going to go down, seal it off, kind of drive the clock out. But then Lamar Jackson gets the ball, and we all know what happens when he gets the ball late in the game. He comes through and came through big to get the narrow win.
Yes, he did. And once again, that score was 36-35. Ladies and gentlemen, that was your extra point quick snap recap of week 2. Now, gentlemen, there's a lot going on in the NFL, but there is a position that is taking hits and injuries already and having major impacts, and that's the quarterback position. Right now in Miami, Tua is out. What does that do to the franchise right now?
I don't think it impacts them too much. I think Jacoby Brissett is a proven veteran in this league. He's a nice piece. I think Tua's going to be missed, but Jacoby Brissett is no scrub. He's a solid player. I think he has a chance to lead the Dolphins, to keep them competitive at least. I think the team's not going to miss Tua that much, I don't think. I think the Dolphins, they're in pretty good hands. I know it didn't look too well for them against the Bills, but as Jacoby Brissett gets some reps in practice and he gets used to this team, I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, I think the bigger issue for Miami is how much pressure they were allowing from the Buffalo defense. That offensive line gave up a ton of pressure. Knocked Tua out of the game, and then they sacked Jacoby Brissett quite a few times, forced some numerous turnovers. Bills have got to fix that issue. But as far as Miami goes, their defense played pretty well overall. When you go up against a guy like Josh Allen, he's going to make plays against you, and a lot of the plays he made were off-script plays, where the initial play was very well defended. So I think Miami – I think it is something to monitor, though. I watched Jacoby Brissett for over a year in Indianapolis. He's not a game changer. He's more just a steward of the offense, the dreaded game manager title put on him. So that's something to watch forward as Miami, challenges Buffalo for that division. This was also a division game where both of them, are both tied for first place in that division with 1-1 starts.
That is absolutely correct. And once again, it's definitely something we're going to keep our eye on. Now, the dreaded Colts with Wentz. It was his issue when he was with the Eagles, and now it is an issue with the Colts. He is injury prone. Is he the right fit moving forward, or should he take the time to really reflect on what he actually brings to the table? Maybe it's time to walk away from the game. I don't know. Look, there's a lot of guys who go through injuries in the NFL. It's just part of the game. But when you are so injury prone at such a critical position on the field, and when a franchise put their golden weight into your abilities, you're putting them at risk by not remaining healthy. I don't know. You're talking about 2 ankle injuries here. Whether it's a high sprain or just a pure ankle injury, those things are not easy to come back from. What do you think the coach should do here with Wentz?
Well, they said, they made a nice investment into Wentz. They should at least stick it out. He's under contract for, I think, 2 more years after this. I definitely think that the Colts need to stick with Wentz until there's a better option. Jacob Eason is not the answer there. I can tell you that. He's done very average here and, made a critical pick late in the game when he had to come in and had a chance to lead the Colts down into field goal range. I would definitely stick with Wentz. The answer's not on the roster, so you got to at least let him stick out the year despite how long, his rehab takes this year.
Do you go out and do you look or do you entertain, if you are the general manager of the Colts, do you entertain potentially, and I'm stretching the word potentially here, ladies and gentlemen, do you go after a Cam to come in to get you through the season?
No, you do not. You do not go after Cam Newton. I just don't see the fit in this offense for the Colts. Cam Newton, I think he's past his prime. He needs to be in a specific offense if he does ever come back. I'm sure he'll get signed to a team next year or, sometime soon, but I don't think the Colts are the right fit. I think the Indianapolis Colts, they did invest a lot in Carson Wentz. I think they need to stick with him. He's a good player, but I know the old mantra is the best ability is availability, and I agree with that. But Jacob Eason isn't the player to carry this team. We saw that with the pick. I think they just need to wait for Wentz to heal up, and then they can go from there.
Well, I hope they go out there in the free agency and really look at this. To your very point, when you are a general manager and you're looking at your coaching staff, and you're looking at your basically your franchise quarterback, you are hoping that this is going to be the one. But it is pretty clear that Wentz right now, from a health perspective, is not the one. How much longer do you wait? So this is another topic for us to keep our eye on, because when you look at what happened in Philadelphia, you cannot you can't just sit there and not have in the back of your mind of your ownership that is this guy the right long-term fit for us. And I think this is definitely going to be something that they're going to struggle with throughout the season. And then out in Chicago, you got Andy Dalton. He now has a knee injury. Now, one would argue here, ladies and gentlemen, that Chicago got exactly what they wanted. Dalton is out, Fields is in, and once you go with Fields, you do not turn back the hands of time, and you do not go back to Andy Dalton. However, the organization has already come out to say, hey, Andy Dalton is still our guy. How do you think this plays out here, especially if Fields go into week 3 looking good?
Well, I mean, if what they meant by our guy is that he's on the roster, yeah, he's their guy.
Yes.
Their guy. Because like you said, Rowan, Justin Fields, was the perfect little scenario for the Justin Fields saga to start already. Andy Dalton goes down, Justin Fields comes in, looks pretty good. He's going to be starting this week against Cincinnati. Dalton's likely, very likely to miss this game. Just the saga for Fields is starting. Like you said, don't rewind the clock. Let him play. Let him develop. That is the proven way that rookie quarterbacks, they need live action gameplay to get ready to play in this league. If you guys start behind a Brett Favre like Aaron Rodgers and come in ready to light the world on fire, in their first game back with a new starting season, play Fields, let him learn.
So let's go ahead and piggyback off of that for the audience out there. So we're going to transition, but we're going to piggyback off of Jeremy's comment, because a lot of organizations, especially those who take first round quarterbacks, the pressure is always for them to play immediately. Now, several years ago, you did have a few quarterbacks that had to wait 2 or 3 years behind superstar veterans. But now the time is ripe for a lot of these first rounders to take helm right now. So that's exactly what the Jets did, right, Justice? The Jets went ahead and did that with Zach Wilson. They took this BYU prodigy. I mean, this guy, let's be honest here. The guy's a game player. I mean, he knows how to play the game. No ifs, ands, or buts. He can sling the ball. However, the Jets left him out on the field. He threw 4 interceptions. Now, when you're dealing with a very young rookie here, you're talking about a confidence demoralizer. Week 2, and you've thrown 4 picks in the same game. One, I got a question for you, Justice. Did the head coach make the right decision, even after 2 picks, to leave him in the game? And what do you think this has done to Zach? Do you think, he's going to bounce back from this? Or is it going to be one of those young rookie confidence demoralizer until he actually has a good game?
Absolutely, 100%. Robert Saleh made the right decision in keeping him in the game for 2 reasons. One, we don't have a backup quarterback to hand the ball to that's had an NFL snap. And 2, I think rookie quarterbacks and young quarterbacks are extremely coddled nowadays. Once they do bad, everyone's hammering them to get taken out of the game and give them a break. No, that's not what I believe. I believe the best learning experience is to go through it and go through the struggles and battle through it. And that's what Zach Wilson needs. Look, it was ugly last Sunday. It was very, very ugly. And I think 3 out of the 4 interceptions were completely on Wilson. 1 went through Corey Davis's hands. That's another discussion for another day. But I think Wilson, he was just trying to force it. The team got down after a few picks. And, those 3rd and 4th picks, he was just trying to force something and make something happen. And that's what it was. I think he's going to learn from this game. He studies film. He's a film junkie. He will learn from this game. He's a tough-minded kid. He will learn from this. He will be back Don't give up on him. I know people are calling for Sam Darnold, saying they just made a mistake. That's not what this is. He's a young kid. He made rookie mistakes. He will be fine.
Sounds like what you're advocating here, Justice, is much like a Phil Jackson with the Los Angeles Lakers, right? Or with the Chicago Bulls, where, hey, no matter how tough the times are, no matter how the scoreboard looks, no matter what's going on the court, play through the tough times. So it sounds like you are advocating that Saleh maybe be taking on a Phil Jackson mentality where, hey, let my rookie play through the tough times. Because let's be honest here, there's a lot of veteran players where a head coach would not allow 4 interceptions. I can remember distinctively several years ago during the Tony Romo era where he actually threw, was it 5 picks in one game? And I was pretty shocked that the head coach allowed him to stay in that game, but it was to force Tony to go through the tough time, to learn through his mistakes. So it sounds like this is what you're advocating for. Jeremy, I don't know. Did the coach make the right decision with Zach?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's remember that, eventually, first ballot Hall of Famer Peyton Manning's first year in the league, he threw 25 very forgettable interceptions, and the Colts did not look good at all that year. So let's not be so quick to write off this young rookie who's only had his second NFL game. I mean, this is the typical overreaction the fans get. Oh, God, he looked so bad, but this kid still has a bright future. This was still the right pick at number 2. These things take time.
Well, I hear Jeremy and Justice, ladies and gentlemen, concurring with each other here on the Extra Point that it was the right decision to leave Zach in. Well, let's see what week 3 has to offer here. Can he bounce back? Now, I'm going to throw a hypothetical out there. I love this topic. I'm going to stay on it. I'm going to pull a Stephen A right now. If he goes into week 3 and he throws anything above 2 picks, what do you do with him now?
I honestly don't know if there's anything you could do with him. Like I said, there's not really a quarterback you can hand the ball to behind him that's made an NFL start. We have 2 pretty much rookies backing him up right now. So if, God forbid, he does go out there and throw 2 or 3 picks, it's a very bad situation. He's in New York. I'm in New York. I know the fans. I know how they get. They were riled up after last Sunday, and they will be riled up if he goes out there today and throws 2 or 3 picks. It's how it is. I hope he doesn't do it. I have faith in him that he's going to learn and, study his mistakes. But I think if he does throw those 2 or 3 picks, it could get very ugly.
Well, we'll see what happens here in the maturation process of Zach Wilson. All right, now we're getting ready to get on a topic here. I tell you, look, there's still some free agency agents out there who are looking for a home, and there are some teams that are starting to reach out to some of these free agents. The Bucs, look, they look great right now. I mean, the GOAT is doing his thing. Gronk is making great plays. The running game is on fire. These guys are making it happen. On the defensive side of the ball, look, they're not, giving up a lot. But the Bucs has recently reached out to Richard Sherman. Looking at his performance with the 49ers, looking at his performance when he departed the Seahawks, is he the right guy to come into Tampa Bay to give them an edge? Basically, what I'm asking not only my colleagues, but what I'm asking all of you, the fans out there, is he the right guy based on his physicality, based on his play, based on his age? Can he make a difference, Jeremy?
Yeah, I think he could, but that's if he's physically ready and healthy. That was one thing, he's been dinged up these last few years when he has played. So I think that's an issue there. And then there's the pending off-field legal stuff that I think you have to consider as well. He pled not guilty to 5 misdemeanors, with the incident he had over the summer. So I think there's a lot of questions to consider there, but it's also fair to point out that the Bucs made a similar determination that they were going to sign Antonio Brown with his pending legal situation. So it makes sense that, they're kicking tires on a veteran who they think can come in and can play and compete and help them win right away.
Yeah, I agree with Jeremy 100%. They're just kicking tires here. They lost Sean Murphy-Bunting in week 1. Carlton Davis, he got banged up a little bit in week 2. I know Richard Sherman's a big name, but he does not fit in this defense whatsoever. You look back at his days in Seattle, that was a heavy cover 3 zone defense where he stayed on one side of the field and just took that side away. Todd Bowles likes long corners who are physical, who can press man and do all the dirty work. That's not Richard Sherman anymore. I know we all saw what happened to him in the Super Bowl against Tyreek Hill. He got put in a blender a few times in man coverage. So I know that's Tyreek Hill, but I don't think at this point Richard Sherman's a man corner. I think the fit's just not there, and I don't think this is, something that's going to happen.
I agree with you. I don't think right now, forget about his pending legal case. I don't think physically nor mentally he's ready to get on that stage with that team. There is a certain expectation of play on that team. There's a certain expectation when you line up at the cornerback position that you're not giving up anything deep behind you. Let's not forget, even though he had a couple of picks there in San Francisco, Sherman gave up a lot of deep balls behind him. One of the things he lost an edge on that he's always been great at is defending the sideline. He's great at pushing guys to the edge of the sideline. Problem is, a lot of guys over the last couple of years have been able to get dig routes behind him. They've been able to juke him off the line. And I think that is an indication that his reaction to jam guys in the kitchen to get in their chest, he doesn't have that quick reaction anymore. It is slowed down. Guys are only getting quicker. He's getting slower. There's always a time to say, let's call it quits. I don't think this is the right fit for the Bucs, but if they do bring him in, to me, it's basically to have an extra body on that bench in case you need somebody to go into the game. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to The Extra Point here on KLAA. I'm your host, Roland Rainey. You can call me R2. I'm sitting here chatting with my fellow colleagues, Jeremy Coleman from Indiana and Justice Gordon from New York. Now, gentlemen, I'm getting ready to throw you a boomerang. You wasn't expecting this one to come. So let's get into something that I think needs to be hushed and hushed immediately, because I heard over the last week, and I've heard last week during week 2 games, Tony Romo, while calling the Cowboys game, referred to the Cowboys offensive coordinator as someone who will get a phone call next year to be a head coach. Do you believe that this guy is ready to become a head coach?
I'll go ahead and take that first. I mean, no one really thought Nick Sirianni was going to get, potentially hired by the Eagles this offseason. It's pretty clear teams are looking everywhere for who could be that next, great head coach. They want someone young. They want someone who's energetic. They want a good offensive mind or defensive mind to come in. It doesn't surprise me, that there's talk about looking at him as a potential candidate. Do I think he's ready today, maybe next NFL season? No. But I'm not an NFL decision maker.
Does it surprise me? No. But like Jeremy said, all teams are looking for that next great offensive mind. They're looking for that, young coach who can take their offense to a new level. But let's remember, this offense has Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. This offense is loaded. This isn't just all about play calling. They have playmakers that execute these plays. So let's kind of cool it on Kellen Moore getting a head coaching job. A head coaching job is apples and oranges to a coordinator job. It's a lot more responsibility. It's a lot more heat that gets put on you when your team loses. So let's pump the brakes on that. I wish the Cowboys the best, and I wish Kellen Moore the best.
Hey, I'm going to go ahead and take this a step further. So I'm not going to be polite about this topic here. I'm going to do my best Stephen A. impression here about the Dallas Cowboys. As much as I love the Cowboys, as much as I like the Cowboys, there is no way on this planet that Kellen Moore is ready to be a head coach in this league. If you're not going to give a head coach job to Eric Bieniemy, who's won a Super Bowl, who's been there under one of the best head coaches However, there is no way you give Kellen Moore a head coaching job under a awful Cowboys, even though they lost Dak last year. We all understand that. But they did not do anything offensively to make you even wonder if they were going to make it deep in the playoffs. So I'm sorry, Romo. I love your commentating in the booth, my friend. You are one of the best. I love how you call the games out. But there is no way that Kellen Moore is ready to be a head coach, especially if Eric Bieniemy has not been selected to be a head coach just yet. So, Tony, do me a favor. Calm down in the booth. Kellen is not ready. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to The Extra Point here on KLAA. I hope you all enjoy week 3. On behalf of my fellow colleagues, Jeremy and Justice, I'm R2. Have a great and safe week.